This video is going to be such a revelation for so many people. It's because everywhere I look, I meet someone that tells me that they have a dismissive avoidant partner in their past or currently in their present. And they're like, oh my gosh, this is a light bulb. Like, this explains everything. Essentially, these folks received like no emotional attunement as kids. So their emotions were dismissed, constantly invalidated, or sometimes even punished. So it sounded like, oh, don't cry, or I'll give you something to cry about. Something like that, okay? Or stop crying, there's no need to get this upset. Just dismiss, 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 dismiss. And so when that happens to you as a little child, essentially the little child looks around and they're like, okay, well, I have these things called feelings, but nobody else does, so I guess that makes me bad or wrong. And they develop this big wound of defectiveness on the inside, and it really affects their behavior in relationships. So these folks follow a pretty predictable pattern in relationships. In the dating phase, they show up really well for the first 4 to 6 months, then they tend to sort of pull back, becoming less affectionate, less attuned, and then if you continue on in the relationship, they just get more and more distant over time. They definitely struggle to be able to validate your feelings. They usually get defensive when conflict comes up. They hate conflict. And then they shut down after conflict. If there's been too much intimacy, they can have what's called the vulnerability hangover effect. So essentially, you might have like a really intimate time with them, and then they'll just sort of really, really pull back, and it can be extremely painful. They definitely struggle the most in a marriage dynamic. I mean, they give off a lot of red flags in the dating phase, okay? But sometimes they will carry themselves through to marriage, okay? Because they have this like expectation that people are supposed to get married, and so they do it even though they don't deep down really want it. And then they really struggle to essentially just be a good partner. They can be good providers. They tend to be workaholics or hobbyaholics. But in terms of really giving anything else to the relationship, they don't get much. If they give anything, it is definitely through provision and through acts of service. But when it comes to affection, attention, and emotional attunement, just being able to say, hey, I understand how you feel, and oh, or I'm sorry you're feeling that way, and I want you to feel better. What can I do? Or, you know, I understand where you're coming from on this. That is not in their wheelhouse at all. If you bring up something about the relationship with them, they are going to take it very hard because it turns on their defectiveness wound, and they have a lot of internalized shame. And because their emotions were dismissed as kids, they are so used to suppressing everything they feel. And shame is so big that they can't suppress it very much, so they react to it. They have to either deny that the experience has happened, which is why they try to convince you that you're too sensitive or you shouldn't be bothered by the situation, or you can hide from shame, which is usually the inevitable shutdown that you get afterwards. And they will not come back around and try to work out the conflict. These people usually react pretty poor to couples counseling, and therapy, it's hit or miss for them. If they have a good therapist that understands that they have attachment avoidance of the dismissive type, they can make progress, but oftentimes a therapist will just unintentionally validate their avoidance without really knowing that's what it is. But I am so good at working with these folks, and the couples with DA partners that go through my hybrid group have tremendous success. It is one of the things I am known for in my career. So if that is interesting to you and you would like to learn how to have a happy relationship with one of these folks, you can see me at my website, thelovedoc.com. And through Father's Day, we are running a 20% off special for all courses and groups, and you can use code DAD20.